And you can mention we visited the schools established by the Gulen community,
Yes.
no problem.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't really know how to begin this to describe this particular experience, because it came to us totally unexpected. From the first day that we were there, we were taken to visit the schools of the Fethullah Gulen community. I had no idea why we were visiting these schools. But from the first moment that I set foot in one of the schools, you had a sense of a real community of love and education and scholarship that was trying to take these young people and give them the best scholarly and academic education that they could receive for the future, not only of themselves and their careers, but also because of the contribution that they were going to be able to make to the world. We entered the schools, and what you had a real sense of was freedom. People who are not dominated by fear, people who have no focus on any kind of prejudice or bias, but people, both the students, the faculty, the administrators, and the sponsors of these schools, who are totally open and desirous of entering into dialogue with the world. The other thing that you notice is the discreet way in which they function among themselves. You don't have a sense of people trying to put themselves out there to get the credit for the way they have either supported the schools, or the way they are running the schools, or what they have been able to achieve. And when I saw the showcases as you entered into the schools, normally in an American school what you would find there would be the trophies that were representing their sports achievements, that they had been the champions in football or basketball or something else. What was notable in these schools was that they had received trophies as signs of having achieved in the World Academic Olympics Games. The schools were the state of the art. The students were getting the best academic education that could be offered. And they were being formed. And I use the word formed because they weren't not just being instructed. They were being formed spiritually, they were being formed emotionally, they were being formed intellectually, and they were being formed morally for the way that they are going to be members of a community and a world community, not just a Turkish community. I observed very carefully the faculty. And while these schools are offered according to state standards and state regulations, they cannot teach religion in the schools. It is a secular country, and they are not allowed to bring religion into the teaching. Nonetheless, what you had was a sense of a deeply integrated faculty, both academically and spiritually, humanly speaking, and by the very presence of this faculty, working together with the parents for the students were being formed in a community of love. Now, American schools, if I must say so, particularly public schools, I'll speak of them, are having a difficulty in training students, simply because, again, in this country, we cannot bring religion into the schools. But what you have is a situation in the United States where you must keep religion out of the life of the students as such. Now, what that does not allow for the integration of the formation or the education of the students. And when I speak of education, what I'm talking about here is the total upbringing of the person. So I saw this not only in the schools, I saw this also in the hospital that we visited, the cancer hospital, and the treatment that people got there, and the way that they were respected, and so forth. One of the things that really amazed me in the schools, and I asked this question because I've been in education a long time in my life, and it's one of the causes which is very dear to me, is I said, well, what do students who can't afford this education do? And the answer was given to me that 50% of the students receive full scholarships in any one of the given schools. Now, that was absolutely remarkable for me.